A new shadow looms over West Africa, casting uncertainty and fear across its vibrant cities and communities. As the sun sets and the streets grow quiet, a silent crisis unfolds in the heart of Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea. Kush, a synthetic drug, is rapidly spreading through these nations, leaving devastation in its wake. It is not just another street drug, it is a powerful, unpredictable substance that is wreaking havoc on the lives of thousands, especially among the youth. Unlike cannabis, which many may associate with a more natural or traditional high, Kush is a deadly concoction of chemicals. Its unpredictable composition makes it far more dangerous, turning a momentary escape into a life-threatening gamble. For families and communities, the rise of Kush has become a public health crisis, one that threatens to rob an entire generation of its future. In regions already struggling with high unemployment, poverty, and the lingering scars of past conflicts, Kush offers a cheap and accessible escape. But this escape comes at a devastating cost. Many young people, unable to find work or hope, turn to Kush as a way to numb their pain, only to find themselves trapped in a cycle of addiction and despair. The spread of Kush is not just a health issue, it is a symptom of deeper societal problems. Criminal networks exploit the vulnerability of these communities, profiting from the misery and hopelessness that drive so many to seek solace in drugs. The drug trade flourishes in the shadows, feeding off instability and neglect. In this series, we will delve into the dark world of Kush, examining its chemical makeup, the devastating effects it has on the mind and body, and the complex web of illicit networks that fuel its distribution. We will hear from those on the front lines, health workers, law enforcement, and the families fighting to save their loved ones. Understanding the Kush crisis is not just important for West Africa, it is crucial for the global community. The health and security of entire nations are at stake, and the lessons learned here may help prevent similar tragedies elsewhere. On the streets of Freetown and Monrovia, the sight of young people in a dazed, zombie-like state has become heartbreakingly common. These are not just statistics, they are sons, daughters, friends, and neighbors, each with dreams and potential now threatened by addiction. The Kush epidemic is a call to action for governments, communities, and the international community. It demands urgent attention, resources, and compassion. Together we must confront this crisis, support those affected, and work towards a future where hope, not addiction, shapes the destiny of West Africa's youth. Kush is a synthetic cannabinoid, a toxic mix of plant materials and psychoactive chemicals. Its potency is far more dangerous than natural cannabis, posing extreme risks. Ingredients include acetone, formaldehyde, and even opioids like fentanyl, increasing addiction potential. The drug's composition varies, making each dose a life-threatening gamble. Unlike natural cannabis, Kush overstimulates the brain, causing severe damage. Users face a brutal chemical assault leading to addiction and cognitive decline. The effects of Kush are not only immediate but also deeply unsettling. Within minutes of use, individuals can be seen slipping into a trance-like state, their eyes vacant and their bodies slack. The transformation is so stark that it's often described as watching someone become a shadow of themselves, present in body but absent in mind. This disturbing change leaves users in a zombified state, where they appear frozen in time, disconnected from their surroundings and from reality itself. Friends and family often struggle to recognize the person they once knew. As the drug takes hold, users become increasingly detached from the world around them. They lose awareness of their environment, sometimes wandering aimlessly through busy streets, oblivious to danger and unable to respond to even the most basic cues. It's not uncommon to see users standing in the middle of traffic, completely unaware of the cars rushing past them. Their sense of self-preservation is overridden, putting them at constant risk of serious injury or death. Many stumble through the streets, their movements uncoordinated and their bodies weakened by the drug's effects. Some collapse on sidewalks, unable to support themselves, while others narrowly avoid accidents by sheer luck. Over time, the toll on their bodies becomes painfully clear. Long-term Kush use leads to severe health deterioration. Weight loss, malnutrition, and a gaunt, sickly appearance are common. Many develop psychiatric conditions, including paranoia, anxiety, and deep depression. Addiction spirals quickly, taking hold of users' minds and overriding even their most basic survival instincts. The need for the next high becomes all-consuming, pushing aside hunger, safety, and even the bonds of family and friendship. Desperation drives many to crime or begging as they struggle to find any means to fund their addiction. Theft, petty crime, and public pleas for money become daily realities for those trapped by Kush. Relationships with loved ones are often destroyed. Users become isolated, their lives singularly focused on obtaining and using the drug. Arguments with family and friends become frequent, and trust is eroded until only loneliness remains. The cycle of addiction is relentless, trapping users in a state of despair that feels impossible to escape. Many lose hope, unable to envision a future beyond the next dose. In the end, Kush addiction extinguishes potential and dreams, leaving behind a trail of devastation, not just for the users but for families and entire communities who grieve the loss of what could have been. The Kush Crisis is an epidemic in the Mono River Basin with millions affected. Its affordability at just 25 cents per joint fuels its spread. In regions with scarce employment, Kush offers an irresistible escape. Dealers operate openly, normalizing use and creating peer pressure. Young men aged 18 to 25 are the primary victims. This demographic should be building futures, not succumbing to addiction. The drug's spread threatens future stability and development. A generation is at risk, with profound social and economic consequences. Kush's impact extends beyond users, tearing communities apart. Crime surges as addicts turn to theft, creating fear and insecurity. Families suffer as children become aggressive and unpredictable. Parents face heartbreaking choices, often banishing addicted children. Public services are overwhelmed, lacking resources for treatment. The healthcare system struggles with Kush-related emergencies. Economically, a generation is lost, crippling labor markets. Businesses face unreliable workforces and increased security costs. The long-term outlook is bleak, with continued poverty and instability. Kush production is a low-tech, high-profit enterprise in West Africa. It involves spraying plant matter with chemicals, easily done in clandestine locations. Ingredients are sourced locally and internationally, often smuggled from overseas. Trafficking networks exploit weak borders and corruption to move goods. The distribution network is decentralized, ensuring widespread availability. Criminal groups profit from Kush, exploiting systemic challenges. Dismantling these networks is complex and dangerous for law enforcement. Governments are acknowledging the Kush crisis, declaring national emergencies. Law enforcement efforts focus on disrupting supply chains and making arrests. Public awareness campaigns aim to educate about Kush's dangers. However, these efforts are limited by funding and the drug's allure. Some governments explore public health responses, planning rehabilitation centers. A shift from punitive to health-focused strategies is needed. The response must match the crisis's scale, requiring coordinated action. A comprehensive approach is essential to combat the epidemic effectively. West Africa faces immense challenges in fighting the Kush epidemic. Healthcare systems lack resources for addiction treatment and rehabilitation. Law enforcement struggles with weak borders and corruption. Socioeconomic factors like unemployment and poverty fuel vulnerability. Without addressing root causes, efforts will fail. Reliable data is scarce, hindering effective policy development. A proactive, evidence-based approach is crucial for meaningful progress. The Kush crisis threatens West Africa's future, casting a long shadow over its youth, families, and communities. This synthetic drug, cheap and dangerously addictive, is spreading rapidly, leaving devastation in its wake. The consequences are not just personal, they ripple through society, undermining public health, safety, and economic stability. If left unchecked, Kush could rob an entire generation of its potential, making urgent action not just necessary, but absolutely critical for the region's survival and progress. Recognizing the scale of the crisis is only the first step. What's needed now is a massive, coordinated response that brings together governments, local leaders, families, and civil society. Community engagement is essential. Open conversations, support networks, and grassroots initiatives can help break the silence and stigma surrounding addiction. Only by working together can we hope to turn the tide. A comprehensive public health approach is essential. This means investing in treatment infrastructure, building more clinics, training healthcare workers, and ensuring that help is accessible to everyone, especially in underserved areas. Prevention programs in schools and communities can educate young people about the dangers of Kush before addiction takes hold. Those struggling with addiction need compassion and support, not punishment. Shifting from criminalization to care is key to breaking the cycle. Outreach programs, counseling, and rehabilitation services must be expanded, so that every addict has a real chance at recovery and reintegration into society. Disrupting the supply chain is equally vital. This requires regional cooperation. Countries must work together to strengthen borders, share intelligence, and target the kingpins and traffickers fueling the epidemic. Law enforcement alone cannot solve the problem, but it is a crucial part of a broader strategy. To truly defeat Kush, we must address its root causes. Poverty, unemployment, and lack of opportunity drive many young people toward drugs. Investing in education, vocational training, and job creation gives hope and alternatives, empowering youth to build a better future for themselves and their communities. The fight against Kush is more than a battle against a drug. It's a fight for the very soul of West Africa. It demands a whole-of-society approach, where every individual, family, and institution plays a role in healing and rebuilding. International support is crucial. Global partners can provide funding, technical expertise, and resources to strengthen local efforts. Together, we can build a united front against this epidemic, learning from each other and sharing solutions that work. The time for action is now. If we act decisively with courage and unity, we can prevent Kush from darkening the region's future and instead light the way toward hope, recovery, and lasting change.